Good morning. On July 3rd, at approximately 10:50 p.m., the South Elgin Police Department responded for reported shots fired in the area of 300 block of Woodridge Circle. Upon SCPD officers arriving in the area, officers immediately began taking fire from a shotgun. The individual began yelling vulgarities at the officers and stated he would shoot officers if they came at him. An immediate perimeter was set up and negotiations began with the subject. At approximately 11:34 p.m., the supervisor called for an ILEA's car plan, which allows up to 11 different agencies that responded to our location this evening. We also had 2 SWAT teams respond. As officers were standing by and attempting to negotiate with the subject now reported to have a shotgun and a rifle and aiming it at officers. Officers began evacuating the area and that lived in the immediate area of Woodridge Circle. And after approximately 4 hours of negotiations, the subject came outside the residence and shot at police officers. The officers returned fire and the subject is deceased. After the encounter, 3 officers were struck by gunfire and 1 was transported to the hospital, all with non-life-threatening injuries. The 4th officer was transported for observation. No names or police agencies are being released at this time, pending notification of their agencies and family members, as this is an ongoing investigation.
How old was the suspect?
I can't release that at this point.
Can you tell us anything about his mental state or what could have prompted this response?
As it is early in the investigation, the investigators are still looking into that, so we don't know why he did it at this point.
Did he live at that residence?
He lived in that area, yes.
In the area, but not in the county?
I don't know exactly the 325. I know he lived in the area of 325 Woodridge Circle.
And was he by himself this entire time?
Yes.
Were there other people in the home at the time of this?
To my knowledge, no.
What about, you described the fact that you said there were actually 2 separate incidents where he opened fire on the officers. First when you arrived and second time. I just wanted to clarify exactly, those were 2 separate times that he shot at the officers?
Yes.
Can you elaborate at all?
The first time was with our South Elgin officers as they arrived on scene. The second incident was negotiations with the SWAT team.
So the officers that were struck are not from South Elgin?
I can't release any of that information at this point.
Just to say they're not from South Elgin?
At this point, we're not releasing any
understood.
information on that.
I remember in one of the earlier releases it said that he was first in the unit and then moved to a stairwell. Can you explain that?
The individual did come in and out of the unit as well as the stairwell.
And I'm not familiar with the building. Can you kind of describe it? I mean, is it, what floor was he on? Where did officers first see him?
The unit itself is an 8-unit condo building. They came out of one of the stairwells and they all have individual entrances. Two down below, 2 above, and then on the other end of the building, there's another 4 entrances.
Do you know about how many people had to be evacuated?
I don't at this point.
And we had heard, and I'm not exactly sure where I heard this now, but as I say this, but did you guys have to go in and actually help people get out? Or cover them, I guess?
We did assist people leaving the residences, obviously due to the gunfire in the area.
What's next? What are you guys doing now?
The investigation's ongoing, obviously with an officer-involved shooting. We're conferring with the state's attorney's office, as well as which agency will be doing the investigation.
And are the roads back open now?
A portion of the roads are open. We still have the area of Woodridge Circle shut down. We are allowing residents back in that aren't in the immediate crime scene area.
I know you're not revealing the officers' agencies. Can you give a little bit more about their injuries? People will be very concerned to hear that officers were struck by gunfire. You're more than just non-life-threatening. You said only, what can you tell us?
At this point, because we're still trying to notify family members and it's non-life-threatening injuries, and maybe the fire chief can address any issues on that.
Are they all at the, oh, sorry.
Were they all taken to hospital?
That's what
They were all taken to local hospitals, correct?
Are they all still in the hospital?
As of now, I believe so, yes.
Any of them had to undergo any surgery, anything like that?
I don't have any of that information to release at this point.
Were all the officers taken to St. Joe's? Were they taken to other hospitals? Steve?
Yes. My name is Steve Wascher. I'm the fire chief of the South Elgin Countryside Fire Protection District, spelled STEVEWASCHER. 3 officers were taken to St. Joe's and 1 officer was taken to Sherman Hospital.
And you said the 3 of them had been shot, but the other one was just taken for observation?
For observation, yes.
Again, I understand it's early in the investigation and everything, but if you could tell me what the injury, anywhere close to what an injury would be that would require him to go to the hospital, but he wasn't shot.
I believe some police officers, when there's a police involved shooting, that officer is required to go to the hospital by his agency to be checked out.
Okay.
Were these SWAT officers that were hit?
At this time, I'm not really.
We're releasing any names of the agencies?
Agencies, anything like
Did your department treat the suspect at all?
that. The suspect was deceased, as Officer Sergeant Doty said. We had 2 South Elgin ambulances, an Elgin ambulance, Fox River and Countryside ambulance, and a Bartlett ambulance on the scene also, who helped treat patients.
How many agencies were involved in the negotiations and this whole standoff situation? Or how many officers? Can you answer both of those questions?
No, the King County SWAT team has their own negotiator, and they began the negotiations as soon as they got on scene, but after, again, it was a total between our agency negotiating with the subject, as well as the King County SWAT team negotiator negotiating with them, and it took approximately 4 hours.
What time did this occur as the shooting? Or what time did this end?
The scene was secured at approximately 2:38 a.m.
How many other agencies were at the scene?
I don't have all the agencies up front. I can tell you Kane County SWAT team is comprised of multiple agencies throughout Kane County. The Elgin SWAT team was here, and then we had up to an additional 11 agencies that I'm aware of that were here.
Can you kind of describe as far as the negotiations? Were you talking to them on the phone? Were you using a broker? What was that kind of negotiation?
Again, it's early in the investigation, and I can't release that information.
Can you tell us if the suspect wanted something, or what was any of the conversation that took place?
That information has not been released to us as to what's going on, and again, it's an ongoing investigation.
Was he a person known to you guys? Have you been called there for incidents in the past?
At this point, we're not releasing any of it due to the ongoing investigation.
Can you elaborate on the King County negotiations, how that took place?
As the officers were standing by with the subject, they were trying to negotiate back and forth on scene with him to get him to resolve the issue peacefully.
Did Elgin bring up the bat?
I wasn't down on the scene itself, so I can't tell you exactly what was down there. So. Any other questions?
When's the last time you guys had an officer involved shooting in South Elgin?
It's been 20 plus years to my knowledge.
Was the negotiation, was it all verbal, or was it, as far as direct
My
communication?
understanding it was there on scene speaking with the individual either through a window or while he was out on the stairwell. Any other questions? We will try to do an update at around 8 o'clock and we'll see if I can release more information. Okay?